One of the common projects with a Raspberry Pi is setting up a Pi Hole DNS ad blocker. And it works great on a Raspberry Pi. It'll actually work on several other different distributions of Linux as well. But it works great on a Raspberry Pi, and it's a nice little practical application of a Raspberry Pi in a personal or even corporate network. So here's how we go about doing it. I have a Raspberry Pi set up here. This is Raspberry Pi OS um, in a virtual machine. Couldn't think there for a minute. In a virtual machine. So let me first show you where to find it. So I'm going to open up my internet here, and I'm going to go to piehole.net. And this is going to be the website where the Pi Hole is maintained. So supported operating systems, we can install it using Docker. Here's a list of supported operating systems. Here's how we install the Pi Hole, how to use Pi Hole as your DNS server, and then pair it with a VPN, so VPN back to your network to use it no matter where you go. So we're going to scroll back up here to install Pi Hole, and I'm going to click on that link, and then I'm going to maximize this just a little bit. Okay, here's our code on GitHub. As you scroll down, you're going to find a little more information about it. So let me scroll back. Here we go, the Pi Hole. Scroll down too far. It explains how it works. It's a DNS sync. Basically, you use it as your DNS server, and it blocks anything that you don't want coming in. So it blocks DNS requests for known ad sites. And so since it blocks the DNS request, then your device doesn't pull up the ads. So we have a one-step automated install, and what this does, curl is used to download a file over SSL. It downloads this file and then pipes it to bash. Now, some people don't like that. You'll notice this piping to bash is controversial. Basically, it runs it without letting you see what it is. So that raises a lot of questions for people. So there's a couple of other ways you can do it that actually let you look at the script before you run it. Now, in this case, this is something I'm fairly comfortable with. So I'm going to be lazy here, and I'm going to click this button to copy the code. And then I'm going to open up my terminal and right-click and paste that curl code right into there and hit enter. So this starts our Pi Hole configuration. Now, all of this is running in a bash shell script, and it's going to ask me a few questions as we go along, but a lot of it's going to be completely automated, which is actually super cool. So this installer will transform your device into a network-wide ad blocker. So I'm going to hit my spacebar to say OK. Yes, I want to continue that, so arrow over and click continue. Now, it does want a static IP address. I actually can't give it one because of the network that I'm in. So this IP address that I have right here, 10.10.65.159/18, that's a DHCP assigned address, and it's from the school's network. I actually can't set a manual or static IP address on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to lie to the Raspberry Pi. And we're going to set the static IP, and I love the options it gives you here. So I can set the static IP using a current value, using a custom value, or nope, I've already done so. So I'm going to say, let's take this DHCP address, and we're just going to convert it into a permanent one. So it's possible your router could still be trying to assign this IP address, and I wish I could make this a little bit easier for you guys to read. I'll just try to summarize it. Basically, it's saying this was assigned by your router, so you might want to do something about that, make it an exclusion or something in your router, so it doesn't try to assign it to anybody else. I'm going to say OK. So upstream DNS providers, we can use Google, OpenDNS. Even down here, we can set our own DNS if we want to. So I'm going to say go ahead and use the Google DNS servers. I'm cool with that. So basically, if this is my DNS server for my local network, device requests something from here. If it tries to look it up, so the DNS ad blocker, if it thinks it's an ad site, it just won't look it up. But if it tries to look it up, it'll send that request back onto Google's DNS servers as their upstream. Okay, So relies on third-party lists in order to block ads. We know that. We're using Stephen Black's unified host lists. We're good with that. So I'm going to hit my spacebar on yes. Do you want to install the admin web interface? Yes, I do, because I'd like to be able to admin this thing from a web interface. Do you want to install the required modules? So light TPD, it's a light HTTP daemon, and the required PHP modules. Yep, I'm good with that. So click space. Would you like to enable query logging? For this case, let's go ahead and say yeah, why not? And then I'm going to say show everything, which is going to be a ridiculous amount of query logging, but that's okay. So again, I can navigate and enter to continue. That one we hit enter to continue rather than spacebar to continue. So now that we've set all of our settings, it's just going to start running here. And it's going to finish doing a bunch of work for us. Again, it's all shell scripted, right? So I'm not doing anything manually other than answering those questions. All right, this is going to take a minute or two. So like I've done on other videos, I'm going to go ahead and pause this. And when it gets to a point where we have to interact with it some more, I'll go ahead and pick up the video there. Okay, and just like that, our installation, whoops, is complete. I just clicked away from it. So I'm going to hit my space bar and my installation is up and running. Okay, now at this point, my ad blocker should be working. So I'm going to go to a website. Let's go to, I'm going to go to profootballtalk.com. And this is a site that I know has a fair amount of ads. Sure, we'll click on their main story right here. And right here, I should be seeing an ad. I'm not. Now, I still have this over here. Ad just went away, and we're back to main story now. This is not going to block ads that come from this site. So this right here kind of looks like an ad, sort of it is, but it's coming from this main NBCsports.com. The one that got blocked here is one that should have come from somewhere else, but my ad blocker blocked it. Okay, so my ad blocker is up and running. Now, I want to access my web admin interface. So I'm going to come here and look at my IP address, and I can browse to that IP address, or I can browse to my local host. So I'm going to do 127. I'm going to turn on my number lock before I do that. 127.0.0.1/admin/. Now, if I was doing this from another computer trying to manage this, then I'd use the actual IP address and not my loopback address of .1. Now, this brings me to my login. It's supposed to give me a password. I have not yet seen it give me a password. I don't know if it went flying by and I didn't see it or not. So I can't find a password for this. That's okay. I come down here and I say forgot password, and it tells you, okay, after installing the Pi Hole for the first time, password is generated to the and displayed to the user. Like I said, I have never caught that. Here's how we set a new password: sudo pi-hole-a-p. So I'm going to open up my terminal, and sudo gives me elevated permissions, pi-hole-a --p. And this says, would you like to enter a new password? I'm going to go ahead and put in a default password. Okay, and my new password is set. So let me exit out of there, and now I'm going to try to log in using the password I just set. And I'm in. Nope, don't save password. And I'm in, and now I'm into my Pi Hole web admin. So this is going to tell me, hey, I've got 121,000 plus domains on my block list. What percentage of queries were blocked, total queries, total number of queries, number blocked, percentage blocked. So this is going to give me a way to manage my DNS ad blocker, including, by the way, the option to disable blocking. Okay, so I'm going to let you take it from here, play with it. If you want to do this on a physical computer, you can run it. As we saw, it'll support Debian, Raspberry Pi, Ubuntu, Fedora, a handful of other operating systems like that. And it's just about as easy to install as we just did. It runs a shell script and life is good. All right, there we go. Raspberry Pi and Pi Hole up and running.